Jambi Yangla Jaza Gangi Lord Trimyen Dendra Nidanan Arazavi Chinyen Dungun Jijin Zijin Niji Togalebam Kandazim Saramare Mondom Dongajiz Dozo Gola Boje Darz Yela Donju Yande Donda Jendo Yomoni Lede Jando Donze Mare Munze Donga Nyogo Chene Jeze Raljena Dene Daji Zaje Dar Yuden Ludo Jaze Doe Chuta Jodan Chunin Dalu Munzil Jam Yala Du Om Marabazanandi Zeden Jeje Jerawazirji Talu Demo Mombarazali Kadan Denje Jolo Domai Lodge Bobe Nawazadoso Kanze Dawar Deba Jonse Tewar Denayam Kombo Jamyan Denin Keme Baryan Donwar Shu Samba Chachawa Shangju Samje Kulongi Saldam December Shu Da Kangshi Sambar Chawe Chweni Patrul Rinpoche Songbe Chonju Ki Kumrim Rapsal Nimar Da Deni Shuwa La Sache Namba Hiwi Binane Da Tanda Ngazon Jorwa Patrul Chimba Chokdi Korlare Di Nane Da Chimba Tsulrim Ni Shu Chubje Sobe Patrul Chimba Che Da Di Nane Ngashi Shu Chubje Tundangwa Me Chweni Da Karimal Shu Yin
Hello everyone, and let's in the beginning of our class again start by giving rise to perfect motivation that of bodhicitta, dedicating this class for the benefit of all beings. And then in that spirit of the awakened heart, listen to the teachings. We're starting a guide to meditating on the way of the Bodhisattva entitled The Brightly Shining Sun. Here we have 4 main topics, among which we're looking at the third one, the practices, right? The practices themselves, which here refer to the practice of training the mind, or specifically the 6 paramitas, the 6 transcendental perfections, among which we have finished the first 2, and now we are looking at the paramita of patience.
So, Gyuzen Sumyi Chö Samola Nebara Sabde Soba Komde Tondam Toni Chöjala Samna Noja Noja Rangshin Mebala Samne Soba Kom Kunzop Tendel Gyumala Samne Tamje Kenji Kulbe Noje Da Tungala Rao Mebala Samne Soba Kom Songju Rangi Semye La Samne Kongdo Shime Zadral Do Dabala Samne Soba Kombara Chawo Songdo Chidana Soba Ngazangazo soba nabo sumbo te gyumzen sum de gone no pom gore dende song na bare ta soba sum yebi nan de sumba chola ngebar sam de soba komba te ang ta na se gyumzen sum yo yure ta chi de ta ang gyumzen sum na ta bo cho tam je chojal re song ro wa na zo ta so ne nam ten je par de cho tam je do sta yun de sama koran yo chup ta nang ge yure 다 예, 좁좁단 한국 레레 제네 나서 제바 제소나 근데 냐 가요 말와 다들 미니 베졸데 rob즈 슈가르 제바이나 나서 눈들라 단다 나 망저들라 대비어도 가오래 탭스잖아 나서 휴고 먹고 좀 샤보진다 이게 먹고 티샤고 된다 다셔져와 다 제주체인데 대표구들에다 얘기들에 이거 유소들에 아니 휴거에서 휴거 당보다 니바래 되는 바바바 체인도잖아 휴거다 얘기다 파체인도 휴거 라우도 얘기 라우도 타마 둘라도도 둘야 바바바 또 용도 되는 무슨 타워 잡고 그러와 디아 바바 체인도잖아 되는 둘야 녀하고 잡고 그래 아니 알레 휴거스는 당 탭세근데 가르래도 제바제도 로드한테 샤바 잠바도 뭐 돈은 거 돈에 누가 가야 말해 매 바래다 가야 한게 요래 제도 낭신도 랑원의 조바 때문에 받는데잖아 그래서 그래 돈이 쓰여와 어 된대지 돈이라 삼용되잖아 근데 너바 제가 지금 지냐로 소소로 동al 담에다 누구요나다 미 담에다 이제 칼 너 누구요나다 섬진 된저 담에다 너바 자기요 바이나다 너근 거라양 도스타나 강사로 지여스지레데 거기 강사스는 소그래다 서로하다 또 파바고 제제잖아 강사 거는 예 두고 말해 미 거는 예 두고 말해 대는 너저거나 랑신 맞고 때네 녀매바 윤두 니 나도 쳐담제야 소바 공부를 강례로 좀 용기 열는데 용은 거는 얼로 제바잖아 강례들이 냐요 말와 너바 잘켄다 너바 자서 율다 너 그런 숨자 니 난게 열에 나오던 르베잖아 요 말에 어딜라 삼네야 소바 공부를 지체 지 기분은 니바데 저담저 돈이 저바단 저로 이나양 트절지 뭐데 텐절지군에 자원이네 려다 두고 말어와 동니 이나냐 동니제 랑신데 텐절인 거고 텐절지 좀 간연 한 쪽이 이래 밀람도 겸마다 요거는 나와데 수치가 두고 말해 나와데 여 가로와 데 나와데 까기 까 민데 바텐데 그런 한게 이래 딜라섬나다네 가서 서버 공고래 가르신에서리 미 강사서근데 리멘도 망고 셔다래 지기질라 강준의 너버절도 예스지레 메스지레 내가 망보지 제인도 지기질라 가시가시 낭편준 미디어와도당 되는 차도 그래 대 빼는 아주 니마샤르인데 몸바 당신 쓸도 그래 와 니마지 몸바들 너버자고 삼바지 예메 삼노당 주라 니마도 뱀보랑시라 너버자에 이제 삼도 여 말해 이나에 몸바 살도 그래 디 내가 망보체 지 야부차는데 셴발라 또도 넣스 그래 근데 발도 여나 메서근데 가지고 고쳐야 말어 디 나와 텐들지랑신 인도 직질라 강에 때서 용스 그래데 제 강에 중조들 가지고 그 독자를 전선나 되게 말해 유마도 인도 근데 텐들지 건데 가야 한 쪽을 레당 가서 그래 교단 땡긴 너버 좀 손나 아니 가양 쪽으로 교진 너버 같이 좀 용도 아니 소소라 강에 또 중요해지니 류라드네 동대라서 바래 류라 강에레 셈라 강에레 데네 중에 교진 같이 좀 민주래 대 교진이랑 신점마도 바 강사들 컨트롤 랑고베 나주 좀전 가민도 교진 담도 좀 민사래 대 텐들지랑 신레 삼노타제 양 나죠 소보콤나 되게도와 아니 김전 선바데 단 나와다 동반이데 벳 로가 소로지레벨람나 대 말해 나와서 텐들지 나와서 근데 바 타른 버지라샤 동니 저번에 잡아서 근데 다른 뭐 샤교로 레버서 텐데 말에 나와 kho랑 장신 동바래 동바 kho랑 나오래 맨날 다는 송년제 나와도 그래 송년 다는 가라서 팔제지 눈라 아니 송년 미상마지 송년 샤르트 요래 남게도 와 송년 찍으실라 나와도 동안에 디나라 여러베 저랑게 랩톱 나랑 가서 상마 여러베 여 말와 여 말에 이난 한게래 낭신도 동래 동심도 나래 어 전제 송주가 나신 교만 나신 가서 우리 송년 나신 이봐 전제 삼용도 되는 가서 가서 그래 강에 담으라 내서 참바야 밀람도 겸바다고 나신 낭와 동동은 낭외라신 인상 될래 가서 소바 공고고 이래 저기 뭐 너저 거라야 제도서나 가야 두비어 말해 섬지 쇠 샤보 섬지래 섬지 낭 샤보 섬지래 아니 쌤 거라니 어째버서는 조절지 랑신데 아니 나와 점지래 어 된데 나동 송주지 랑신라 섬도다네 가서 소바 공고고도 왔어 근데 어 된데 손면조 나서
So let's look at the text where we have left off on Friday. We're looking at the 3 types of patience and the 3 reasons that are given for each of the patients, the reasons for why we have to cultivate it. And we have arrived at the 3rd type of patience. Patience that can be cultivated by contemplating with certainty the profound teachings. So it's the patience, we can say the patience of having certainty in the profound Dharma. So how to cultivate that patience? By reflecting on the profound meaning of reality. So there are 3 reasons. The first one here states that considering the ultimate truth of emptiness beyond any conceptual elaboration, we can cultivate patience by reflecting on how the harm that is done to us and the one who is doing the harm are both lacking in any true reality. We can read all 3 reasons now, actually, what Khenpo did. Considering the relative truth of magical dependent origination, we can cultivate patience by realizing how neither the harm doer nor the suffering itself is independent. And lastly, considering the inseparable unity of the nature of mind, we can cultivate patience by recognizing our anger to be pure and lacking any basis or origin. So first, we cultivate patience by considering that when reflecting on ultimate unfabricated emptiness, in other words, freedom from any mental constructs, the object of harm and the one who is doing harm lack intrinsic nature. In other words, here we reflect on true nature of harm doers and ourselves, that is emptiness. And actually all phenomena starting from any subtle, smallest form up to and including omniscience of the Buddha, everything lacks solid, real existence. It appears, and yet it's not truly existent in and of itself. And how to reach that kind of realization, that kind of conclusion? Well, through investigation, through analysis. We need to analyze phenomena, such as, for example, probably all of us right now have a book or a text right in front of us. And let's say it's a book, right? Can give an example of a book. And what is a book? Well, a book is just a conglomeration of pages of paper and some ink, right? Some typed words on the pages. So it's paper and some words. So if we try to find the book, well, we all believe there is a book, right? We all say, well, this book, it's truly existent. There's a book. Well, but where is a book? If we try to find a book here in this, just a shape or kind of like an arrangement of different pages, right? If we try to ask, is that a book? And we take a first page Or maybe, no, that's not a book. Well, maybe this one is a book, second page. And we will go through the whole of a book, and we just will find this kind of different pages, right? Different then pieces of paper, something typed in it. But if we will further break it down in this way, what is this page of paper? Okay, is that a book? What is this piece of paper? Is that truly existent? Then we will further break it down into atoms and molecules, right? What we call a piece of paper, page, is nothing other than just this kind of a collection of atoms. And then we can take atoms and we can further break them down, and going, in this way, we will sort of arrive at this place where we understand that nothing is truly there. Book is only a label. It's only some, an imputation of our mind, right? We impute, we think there is a book, but if we search for the so-called book, this bookness somewhere out there, nothing is, has this kind of bookness. We can say the nature of a book, right? In and of itself. There's no book in there, right? It's only our imputation. And in this way, no, there's not a single phenomenon that is not kind of in this way lacking true existence. And this is what we call emptiness. And then in this way, we can think of the harm doers, right? And the harm they inflict on us. We can investigate them in the same way as we search for a book. Let's search for real harm doer, this kind of solid, truly existent, real harm doer. But what is that? Could be animal, right? Or being, any, human. But if we think, of course, of that being, what makes that being a being? Well, some kind of passing feelings, thoughts, right? Desires, this kind of memories, all these kind of fleeting experiences, really, right? And they always change. So when we try to find this kind of real harm doer, like really, truly existent, like at the core of that being is this harm doer, we can't find that. If it was that momentary, impulse to do something, well, it's past, it's gone already. It doesn't define that individual as being constantly that and only that, right? It's kind of a harm inflicting being. And sometimes it's true, like, this kind of, they do inflict harm, but it's not that, that it's their sort of independent, truly existent, autonomous nature. So looking for this kind of self in others, we come to understand that there is no this kind of self of, harm doer in there. It's just a fiction, right? This passing feelings, passing thoughts, passing experiences. And then we sort of impute on the basis of all of that, this kind of, oh, a person is there and it's a harm doer. Oh, it's just a fiction we create. Yes, troubles and suffering appear. We don't deny that. No one is denying that they appear. But while they do appear in our lives, we need to investigate, are they truly existent? And if we analyze, we can see that we can't find anything to grasp onto on this ultimate level of existence. Ultimately, nothing is truly there. So in this way, we reflect on emptiness and cultivate patience, right, towards accepting this harm, or kind of dropping any sort of story about the harm that has been done. The second way to reflect here on the profound teachings is by considering the relative truth of dependent origination. Here we think about relative illusory interdependence, that everything is precipitated by conditions, right? So in this way, those who inflict harm and suffering, they lack any true independence. They are just an origination, dependent origination, like this kind of magical illusion that arises based on causes and conditions. Yes, everything arises. Even though everything is emptiness, all appearances arise, and nothing can prevent them from arising. Nothing can block and stop, all the appearances. But if we think about the nature of appearances, we see that, they lack any independence, kind of autonomy. Everything arises only in the manner of this, causes and conditions coming together and things appear. In other way, if we think of a harm doer and suffering, that particular instance of someone inflicting harm and pain, we cannot claim that being had like independence, like a free will to desire to choose to harm us. In a way, they were propelled, right, by their own sort of conditioning. And that's what we mean, they were also not independent beings. They are dependent on so many things. And these are what we call causes and conditions that come together. Their cultural conditioning, their biological conditioning, right? They are not really independent. They think they have this autonomy. But if we think, no, they're propelled by so many things that they don't have control over. And in this way, they are nothing but this kind of a result of causes conditions coming together. And so the harm that they inflict, they might have intention, might not have intention. Sometimes they do something, right? And this is a result because things, all these conditions come together in this particular shape and form, so to say, that the result is that of pain and suffering. But if we reflect on the way that, they were not independent, it's just this kind of illusory dependent origination. Everything is interdependently arising, right? At the end, it's nothing but this kind of causes, conditions got assembled in this way, and harm, had a reason. If some condition was lacking, something was not together, right, present at that moment, it would be a totally different story. So we kind of understand that relative nature is, nothing other than this interdependent origination. And finally, here we have to consider the inseparable unity of the nature of the mind. And the unity here refers to these two truths, the ultimate one of emptiness and the relative one of interdependence. Because if we think they are completely, these two that we just talked about, they are two opposite truths, right? Emptiness is one thing, it's right here, let's say, and then this kind of interdependently originated phenomena, that's something else. Then we're completely wrong. We're on the wrong, track. Actually, they are in perfect unity. It is this particular, it's the phenomenon that had originated, that appearance itself is emptiness. Emptiness is not something far removed. This ultimate nature is out there, and then originated phenomena is right here. This phenomena itself is emptiness, right? That's, the unity means that they are really inseparable. No one can separate them. If we think of, for example, right now, we all see the images on our screen, right? And this image is just this kind of appearance, what we call appearance, dependently originated. Causes, conditions come together. So this magical technology, so to say. And so here is this image, and it's there. But if we really try to, investigate, just think a little bit. Does it mean this really, truly, everyone is right here in my screen? Like I can, touch you and you're right there? I mean, no, it's just pixels, right? It's like no one is there in my screen. And yet it appears as though that someone is there. And if we investigate, well, no one is there. Like in the screen, right? So actually all appearances are kind of like that. They appear on the surface, we take everything for granted. We go through life calling this is book, this is harm doer. But if we just scratch the surface a little bit, we see that beneath it, well, it's not really, things are not how they appear, how we think of them, right? The harm doer, harm that is done, is nothing but a mental fabrication of our own. It's a story. It's a fiction that we create and tell ourselves. In reality, things lack that kind of basis. This anger then, therefore, that we experience towards harm doer and suffering and harm is also lacking a basis. It's without root. That's all.
So Shiba Tsondru Parul the Shambhala, Miduncho, Lelosum Bangwa, Tunjo, Topchuk, Jebani Le, Nedambo Ni, Midabe Chaki Kulin, Joro maybe Lelo Bang. For that Tsondru Parson, Takiawala, Troy Ranchin, the Tsundin, Kazanbang to shoot our Tatila Miduncho, Tunjo Nilegudo, Miduncho de Tambo, Lelo Sumdoa. 아니 조람메벨로 세컨드로 조람메벨로 다 내가 가야 지기요 말해 내가 상황 맞아 내만 맞아 다가 버테네 네 뒤져잘 동안들은 조로 가야 매 봐라 다 뒤로불레로 네 산이 제고 난이 제고 신이 제고 제마 제나 하도 문제 용도 와 그냥 가야 맞아 대해가 된 소리 다 뒤로불레로 네비 네 님바 가르 된 거래 람나 메다버들 공부를 소리래 메다버스도 다 제가 메다만 뒤제 주체 담제 깨지게 교라 주고 봐 메다바 인 가로와 대난에 단단가랑서 소대 섬나다에 밀류를 뭐지데 하정 예각보 년나 돈다 전부 두비에 바데 뭐마슈 바래 대도 밀류를 뭐지데 다 가져버도 내게라나 시에트에 가야 말해 상니 나zo 하그레다 하게 말해 도 섬도다는 땡땡 말해 나 소조 섬도 상니 등알 하그레 땡그래 얘네 상니 걸로 통그래다 제와 제만 걸로 통그래 수치가 하고 두베요 말해 ken adana devu denjang yu na ne na za khaya me la burwa tian ten den yo mare nga lo chung chung yin lo chen bu yin san lo lan kya bar yo mare wa tini nga ka su gur me chen bu yin nga mi chung chung yin san mi che chung la kya bar yo mare lo che chung da pho mo da ta me ta ba se gan khaya ten den mer wa top san nam ne to kya ba na she le yong gre tini de de ga sun dra re ti ta den de yin sang 다 밀르름바제 내 토바티 가주 드만도당 가주네 만도 서고 가주버도 테마데 때는 단다 내가서 쉬어제는 마도 제마 상니 라브게로 체소나 때 벨하로 그러와 교바제소나 때는 제일 탑도 그래 제도 단다랑네 니 쳐도 그래 쓰긴디래 뒤전에 조로하며 밤 아니 가서 그래 가야 미제 벨로데 방도 그래 아니 nipa dambi chokin gawa la samne jawa ngenshin jela lo pangsa ta lelo nipa di jawa ngenshin re nazo kuma jabia, choba jabia chiki jela penzu noba jalya ta kandar megewi lega dinzo jawa ngembarwa dinzo la gawa na choyo tohne jukso na di te la kasa kuru tsundi seki yo mare te dawi jabay na ngazo kari samno tangore koe ki nyambo te 담배 쪽에 가와라 삼내서도 대배 내미 개회 편도 된 거래. 대과 제소나 아니 세딜라 가르서 그래 기부 영양스 그래 두부 영양스 그래 저와 제마데 땡땡 것도 원 요야래. 아니 개와 제소나 세딜라 제비값도 강해 영스 그래 인 대화 영스 그래. 이나 거 저우데 땡땡 대화 용 내버려. 네 개와 제소나 거 대과든 렘베 다 두고 요래 메게와 렘베 삽도 두고 요래. 디인도 타르바다 탐제지 뭐 고방 토고고 있나 저 개와 주베 마도 신자요 말에 지든 이제 대화 강다 강요 바 탐제 나저 대화당 딱 개와 딘졸라 때문에 중국요래 지든 이제 동알 진여 바 던서 탐제 메게월라 때문에 중국요래 디인도 나저 개와 이 penyen다 대부 님이 딘졸라 섬노당제 네 저 자원 연신례로 방고래 순서래 ane somba rangi sengto de gilu gilelo pangos ta yang kas gore chanjo samba laba nan lebin de semje re che do ya so tang gore ongbo tang tinzo chimba tang gore tene shen gorwa ta tene na ngazo yang kona mere de chanjo samba nam da pe ke u tamba nam de lega ra ma dong pa nga da wo le tang bo semjen je kawa tu gore san yang sa ma de da ngazo je lega kona ma chi mela re pa ka ni lam 다 konzo nangshin ki mirin zo tuibay mato ngay yung sa mara yasan nga zo pashum sigire ta di pashum ko ba gyumzen kaya yo mara ko ngoma sangye dan chanchu samba konzo zonru chene sangye rwa konzo ngoma tangbo nga zo da jikba jikyan rwa sangye tangbo ne sangye ba na mila raba tangbo ne sangye ba dende chi yu doho mara tangbo ngazo yang konzo na shi de konzo yang ngazo na shi de konzo tsondru yakbu che ani kale kyabzang sanje bare ngazo tene tsondru de lokba peje wang sagora jaw ngenshin jile lo de che sore mige wala tsun ka sagora towa che kewala towa ma che sang tanda burdo la sore kasi kewa chik samji kewala towa yakbu che na kale yakbu che kyabzang tonda tamje dupto gore sanje gomon topto gore salam je remba dupto gore ngazo kewa chiyang chere chigo marwa nyama je karma nga che tos kewa che na pe mizi chiyang sam gore mige wadi chuzo nishu sapshi che de yore didi da dogne kale kale kewa che de shuk chero tang ani mitoba kaya yore ngaya mirwa ngazo zemla deshin nyingba na yorwa che suna ngazo mitoba kaya yore kaya che to gore sanje goba yang topto gore sanje goba shakti to bari mi ludin la to bare mi ludin la chachumba kazo to bare chancho sambe salo chigan kazo yore 나중에 밀리드는 건조다 찍어지야나 제일 맞아 삼지를 쟤는 땡는 톱그래 소소 전에 소소소소라 쪼와나 뽑아 깨제 아니 쳔바이나 아니 길루벨로 양봉도 그래 넣어서
That was all for the third paramita, that of patience and how to cultivate patience. And now we're moving to the fourth practice, the paramita of diligence. As you remember, diligence by essence is the mind that takes delight in wholesome actions. It is enthusiasm in doing something that is beneficial and meaningful. And when we practice paramita of diligence first, as our text indicates, we need to overcome factors incompatible with diligence, namely the three kinds of laziness. And then secondly, we need to cultivate conducive factors, known as the six forces. So when we want to accomplish this practice of diligence, first we need to do away with what actually obstructs our practice of patience, what prevents us from, diligence, what prevents us from being diligent, right? We need to work on the opposing factors, the factors of laziness. That's what really prevents us, right, from accomplishing the practice of paramita of diligence. So how to overcome laziness? The text reads here that spurred on by the hook of impermanence, we can overcome the laziness of inactivity. So the first among the three types of laziness is the laziness of inactivity, of kind of idleness or procrastination, right? That's all would be suitable way to define the first paramita. Oh, sorry, the first type of laziness. Laziness of idleness. So in order to remedy that kind of laziness, we need to, as it says here, kind of be encouraged, be incited by impermanence, by reflection on impermanence. And generally, when we say word impermanence, we refer to the fact that all conditioned phenomena, conditioned means they are compounded, or coming from causes and conditions. So all phenomena, they are in constant fluctuation. They're constantly in flux. They change moment by moment. Nothing stays the same even for a single moment. Everything that is of compounded nature is in constant fluctuation and change. But this is not the reflection that helps us to become diligent and overcome idleness. Here, rather, when we talk of impermanence, we need to consider our own life. As we remember, our life is that of a precious human life. And so we need to reflect on how precious, how rare our life is, how difficult it is to obtain this kind of situation that we find ourselves in right now. And we need to think about, is there any guarantee that we are still going to be here tomorrow, right? Actually, as we say in the Dharma, there is no certainty what will come next, tomorrow or the future life. We might go to sleep and we actually don't wake up in tomorrow, but we find ourselves in the next life. Really, anything is possible, and there's no way, there's no kind of bait. Oh, I'm young, that will work, or oh, I'm healthy. Actually, that doesn't matter. Gender, age, even physical fitness. Yeah, it affects a little bit, but still, anything can happen, right? At any moment. There's no guarantee that death will not come all of a sudden. And just like that, we'll have to live this life. No one will even give us all the time, like, okay, just, make your arrangements, make your final arrangements. It can come like this, and we're gone, right? So reflecting on the fact that, we might not live till old age if we plan to practice the Dharma when we are old and retired and have all the time, resources. Well, if we put all practice off till later, well, there's no really guarantee that this kind of time of old age will come to us. Maybe it will, but maybe it will not. And so we shouldn't think that, oh, I'll do practice later. Procrastination, it's really, we can't really be assured that, we can actually do practice later. And so thinking in this way, thinking of impermanence, thinking of death, we get, as it says here, spurred on, right, by this reflection, and we overcome our tendency to be inactive, meaning not practice, not do, wholesome activities, not do spiritual practice, just put it off, procrastinate, and be idle. If we understand that this moment is so precious because maybe, this is all what I have, then we won't be idle anymore. The second type of laziness is the laziness of attachment to negative behavior, and it can be overcome by thinking about the joys of the sacred Dharma. So this kind of second type of laziness is attachment to evil deeds. This could refer to us being so strongly habituated to doing some things that might be harmful to ourselves. It might be harmful to others, but yet we just we fall prey to this habit. And this is also laziness, really, because we don't put stop to it and take us out of this kind of usual tendencies that we can see that they don't accomplish any good for anyone, and yet we still cling to them. And this is laziness, because it's not diligence. If we take delight in any kind of harmful activity, if we persevere in anything that's not beneficial for self and others, it's not defined as diligence. Diligence is only when we take delight and enthusiastic with something that's wholesome and beneficial. And so how to overcome this kind of laziness, these bad tendencies of ours? We need to reflect on the joy of sacred Dharma. We need to reflect on karma and the causes of suffering and happiness. Understanding that this kind of unwholesome, negative behavior, as it says here, destructive behavior, will result in suffering. All right, maybe not in this life. Maybe we will engage in this kind of negative behavior and still be really pretty lucky in this life. And then we might wonder, well, how come, right? Doing all the evil deeds and still sort of prosper. Well, it's definite that karma, the repercussions of these kind of actions will catch up with with ourselves, or whoever is engaged in these harmful actions in the future life, or future lives rather. And so we need to understand that this kind of negative behavior is certain to bring about results, and results will be that of pain and suffering. And if we overcome this negative behavior and instead we be very active, very diligent with something that's really constructive, with some really positive things or wholesome activities, then the result that of happiness, it's also a given. And even not only mundane type of happiness, right? There will be this sort of just mundane happiness in these or future lives, but also the state of liberation once and for all from all types of suffering, and the state of awakening, omniscience, will be achieved only through wholesome actions, only through virtue. Also, all the happiness in this world actually is achieved only through virtue. It's caused by wholesome virtuous activities. And so in this way, when we reflect on the benefits of virtue and the faults of non-virtue, or in other words, benefits of wholesome activity and the faults of negative behavior, we sort of, we resolve to give up this laziness of unwholesome actions, and, become diligent with what is truly meaningful and beneficial. And the third type of laziness, of self-discouragement, can be overcome by encouraging ourselves and bolstering our self-confidence. So the third type of laziness is the laziness when we feel discouraged, thinking, well, the practices of the bodhisattvas, I mean, you need to give your body away, you need to offer to beings whatever they need, including the body, all the belongings. I mean, it's really difficult. If we feel that way, if we look at the practitioners like Milarepa and say, well, yeah, this kind of practices on the bodhisattva path, they suit beings like Milarepa, but where am I? I mean, I'm not Milarepa. It's not for me. I cannot really achieve Buddhahood. I'm not good enough for this. If we get discouraged this way, but we shouldn't. This is laziness, and we shouldn't, because there are really all the good reasons for us to be confident in our own capacities. The Buddhas of the past, the Bodhisattvas of the past, they reached that state of being a Bodhisattva and Buddha through their diligence. First, they were just like us. They didn't start from some other place, already so far ahead, so superior, right? And then, of course, if we compare where are we, where are we and where they are. But they were like us, exactly like us. And they were just diligent, not giving up on themselves, not giving up on improving and progressing. And so they reached those high results, right? Because they were not discouraged. And so we also shouldn't be discouraged. They achieved the result thanks to diligence. Our diligence is misplaced, right? The only issue why we are not there where the Buddhas are is because we persevere in what is meaningless instead of persevering in what is meaningful and going to bring about the result of awakening, right? Basically, some minutes a day we feel some spiritual inclination, some benevolent intention is born in us, and we feel something really positive. But the rest of the day we're distracted, we're carried away. We can say 23 hours we sort of waste, right? Maybe sometime we have this sort of very positive outlook, but the rest of the time we're really not accomplishing what is meaningful. But we can. The point is that, we are like the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We are, we are like them at the beginning of their path. And we have all of what it takes to achieve full awakening. We have the capacity, potential to become Buddha. We have this sort of Buddha seed, Buddha nature in all of us. And there's no difference really between us and the Buddha when he started his path, his spiritual path. So, and look where he had, gone, what he had achieved. And so is Milarepa. In the beginning, he maybe was way worse than us. And yet what he achieved, full awakening in one lifetime. So it's totally possible. It's really doable. We have what it takes. We just need to be diligent. And so in this way, bolstering our self-confidence, acknowledging our own potential, we get inspired and we abandon the laziness of self-deprecation, putting ourselves down.
lelo sum pang pang nyembo top chu che gore sung go yore ta den do nang ben sama del de ro wa lelo sum pang ye nyembo rang top chu den zore che sang thengma ni ni le byo do yung su ge kha she ti galwa kha ye mar chi nyembo dang chi pang ja to na ke che she ge yore se de ta tang da mo be pung kap so yang ke wi phen yun da ti mi nyemi den zo chen gore sung ye de ko nyembo to na she ro wa den che ye ge kang la xiādi ko pāngchā pāngdāngu nā xīgī yuwa nī, ngālwa kā yuwa mā rē. Nī nīngdō jī tāmchā tēmbī tsaṁbī kēsā thār yuwa ngō xī tēmbī pōngsā. Tādī mā sō chua chē kō nā ngō tāngbō nī kēwī pēyuñ tēmbī nyēmī kī tō shūk chōmbō chēn yāgbō hā kō nā kēwā lō chōwā jē. Tē chī lō ngō xī nyamnī chēbī kāpsō tēn tēmbō kō kō rē, chū xiong nā xīn. Gyokshū chō chī nā kō mū tō nī 그런 쪽으로와 디나지 dembo 까고라 제 까고 맞제 까고 인 까고 민 듣고 되는 사람 매버자 그래 지는 것이 내 템보 휴지 거기에서 대 템보에는 개월자오데 타르치 받는 거 그래 숨고래 다디라 나 돈다 숨기고는 시행이 있어 다디 갈래 말아 잘 쉬어야지 나서
Gonda Khenpo dini danda chikda gevala chova chikdi
그래
mutune chepadi top juknane top
그래 뭐비 뿡세 근데 또 존나네 당보래
re
템보 뿡세 근데 또 존나네 니바들
re diran dini mato Khenpo gishenda da chisumasora oli
나래
lasso tatarere na. And now we continue with conducive factors for practice of diligence. That is the 6 forces. And here we need to understand that the way to overcome the 3 types of laziness and the way to practice practice diligence by means of 6 forces, they are connected, they're interconnected. So we could see some repetition here, what we have already seen in the explanation of how to overcome laziness may come again in a way of how to accomplish diligence. Well, because they are connected. We shouldn't think there's something, repeated like a mistake, or, there's a contradiction. There's no contradiction here. First, these practices were explained in the manner of just how to overcome what is not conducive. So in the way of what should be abandoned. And now, in the second part of the practice of diligence, the same practices, some of the same practices will be explained, but more from a side of how to accomplish diligence. So first they were explained in terms of what should be abandoned, and now the same practices emphasize what should be accomplished. But they could be the same, so don't just be surprised, yeah? That overcoming laziness is very much connected with then accomplishing diligence. So what are the conducive factors? And we have the 6 forces. And among the 6 forces, the first force is the force of aspiration. And it's preparation for our practice of diligence when we get aspired. As the text says, it is an aspiration to practice the Dharma that comes from reflecting on the benefits of virtue and the faults of harmful actions. So first, when it comes to being diligent, we need to bring forth this force of aspiration, sort of engender in us aspiration, the force of aspiration. And it comes when we understand the benefits of virtue and of wholesome actions and faults of non-virtue. We have seen it already, so, that in the time of overcoming laziness. So here, this practice is known as the practice of giving rise to aspiration. Then we have the main part, which is the force of self-confidence. It is a stable commitment born of strength of heart, ensuring that once a virtuous act is begun, it will reach completion. And this has 3 aspects. Okay, so the second force, the second force here is the strength, we can say, of stability. And it's a practice of diligence from the point of view of continuous application. So first we need to inspire ourselves by understanding how virtue results in happiness, right? And non-virtue should be abandoned, it results in suffering. But then, as the main part, we need to rely on the strength of stability, where we have a very stable, courageous commitment. Meaning that once we start practicing diligently, we shouldn't do it for one day and then take a break. Maybe third day we do, maybe not. This is not the way to accomplish the paramita of diligence. It is a very stable, very continuous, uninterrupted process of applying ourselves, committing ourselves to complete the roots of virtue, the ones that we have undertaking. Yeah. So, and it has three aspects that we're going to look at now.
Jigden Nima Sharwa la peche de parche Xiongda Midonwar Tenji Zewa Mebadang. The Nima Tuzo Tada Shargre, Tuzo Tada Bandu Dogre, Nozo Zambuling Teyundo Nima Sharne Levon Soroji, Numne Mebachanoji, Ko Tuzo Tada Tada Yarawa, Shoba Shayadan Konda Nubdogure. The Kun Ken Kanda Karitonado, Gu Ramin the Karis Timbasharna. Mukbala soba chingna to kare chenanda nyama kona share da nebe de gadu ine kangi jan kola nebe ja tu mar ko da da chung yung do wa ane de ga na shin do nga zo zun ju jang jiden de la ki du leng nya da ma da khayang to se re kare chena kola so zo zun ju che de gyun jang ne do ko re se be ge ja re chö de mu de me se milar re ba na je shuk chum be shu je che ko ya yo ma re de ne che tu na ya sho re khag bu yo na ko나 뉴뉴제제 제바도 딱파르 균 무튼에 제고고 요래 어딘데나 근데 녀마 직보로 겨발라 빼제데 당니 직부 현라 메도 버 되게 판버치는 조베 산제 주바나 데 녀마 남갈라도 드인데 샤르디가조 코나 직부 샤르 용그래 닝고야 코나 직부 요래 저요 말에 건다 만두변도 코나 직부라도 와 된데 윤데 소소장 Shedrub kabla rokpa mambu ko nang dawda mi mambu ko nang sharu ko nande koge yo mare so so chikbu jang zobe changju drup thup ko yore changju drup kan so so ro kala so so ja ro wa de de ngana chikbu sanje ko mo thob chigi tu ta ka tu ji test de sana ta nyomong ba dang she je ba la so ba ba den zo de zo thama pang ne me ba so thoba de ngana chikbu ji chegi nya ba ji ta to wa dong ro ko yo ba da Nyemakunda Nawadar Changju Sembe Yeshe Ningje Mamba Sumki Rani Ruwe Nyesur Chinje Labde Kaide Bundodun Tangdo Lawadang Sunguyere. Chetu Nyema Ye Nyema Shar Yongdu Jigden di Mamba Tamje Selguyere Nyeme Nawade Jigden da Yongzo La Chetubo Duwas. Ene Soso Jang Soso Chikbu Ye Ene Semje Tamje Le Pendo Chetoba. Pene Shaje Doba Chik Jigden Jikamdula Pebiondu Semjem Tang Meba Mambojala Pento Chumpare. Or Tin Nanshin Chiba Chigan Jing, Jigging, Loa Tamja Pento Jigan, Loa Semjem Tamja Jabna Pung Tambajane, Jigging Senjita, Pobatunda Doa. Or did Tandalawa Dang Severe. Or this sum the legend I tell Lagores, this sum Jatilla. Nima Depech in the Sum Shazwa. Then add the legacy to win some lega de la Pachuma Mebade. Leginga delta, Tambo Dinga delta, Coecha la Redua. Maso.
So the force of self-confidence, this kind of stable, courageous commitment, has three aspects. And the first aspect is the self-confidence of action. So we have to develop this kind of confidence. We can say literally Tibetan almost, it's actually uses the same word as, pride. And so Khenpo said, but this is something that we need. It's not something that is like afflicted pride that needs to be abandoned. So in English, it's easier. They choose to translate it with a different word, self-confidence. But we need to understand it's this kind of dignity, right? It's a good one, something we need to develop. And let's look at this confidence of action. Take the example of the sun rising over the earth. This indicates how we should avoid falling prey to obstacles of being affected by circumstances. So here the author provides us with an example, that of the sun, to understand how we should develop self-confidence of action. If we think of the sun always rises in the morning, wherever we are, whatever part of the world. In the morning, morning means the sun rises. Maybe we don't see it. Maybe it's, the sky is covered up with this. Sorry. There's a plane. Maybe there's all these clouds and pollution, smoke. We don't see it, but it's there. I mean, there's nothing that can obstruct sun from rising in the east in the morning and then setting off in the evening, right? So we should be like that. No matter what happens in our life, we shouldn't be affected by circumstances. The sun is not affected by circumstances. It's always gonna, rise in the morning. So we should always also be there, right? No matter what. And then the text continues. It says, take the example of the sun moving alone. This indicates how we should defeat the forces of Mara by ourselves without relying on others, and in so doing accomplish perfect enlightenment. So here, whether we have good times or bad times, whatever happens, sorry, actually, I think this is what Khenpo said, peace still belongs to the first part of the example. Yeah, basically he said that we shouldn't be, so going a bit back, we shouldn't be affected by circumstances. And here Khenpo will give an example. We should work diligently on our practice, continuously. Maybe not as hard as Milarepa, like, of course, if we can, that's the best, but maybe we cannot. And so we shouldn't give up because we cannot be diligent all day long, accomplishing, virtue. But what is really important that we do it no matter what. Good times, bad times, we are happy, we are sad, right? We should apply we should engage in our practice daily. That's the point here. Even if just a little bit, not like Milarepa, maybe for some minutes a day we can, we start only with some minutes a day. But it's important that our practice is uninterrupted, means it's a continuous flow day after day. We apply ourselves diligently. Then that's sort of like illustrated by the sun that rising over the earth, no matter what. Then if we think of the aspect that the sun rises alone, it's never really accompanied by anything else. It's just there by itself, alone, right? Rising alone, then shining all day brightly, and then it's, setting off, but alone. And so we need to understand that it's I myself, without relying on anyone else, I'm alone going to overcome my obscurations, my afflictive emotions, my cognitive obscurations. I'm going to destroy them. So this kind of courageous commitment, yeah? The first aspect was more about continuous, stable commitment to practice. Here it's also this courageous commitment. Yeah, even if I don't have help. If I have, it's great. But if I don't, I will not give up, right? I will then destroy all the afflictive emotions and cognitive obscurations by myself. Then the third aspect, we can say, of the self-confidence of action is illustrated finally, as the text states, as in the example of the sun shining its light on the whole world, having been blessed by the wisdom, compassion, and aspirations of the bodhisattvas, we ourselves can sustain the lives of beings. In other words, we earnestly strive to bring about the welfare of living beings everywhere, throughout the whole infinity of space. So the third aspect of this example of the sun is that it's shining its light on the whole world, right? It's kind of in a very impartial way. It dispels the darkness everywhere, and it accomplishes, it gives warmth and heat also everywhere in the world. The whole world, right, is affected by the sun, is very much dependent on the sun. And so here then we think that I will be just like that, like Buddha Shakyamuni, right? He attained enlightenment, and then how many beings across the whole world have been continuously benefited, right, by by his enlightenment, or we can say benefited through his achievements, through his accomplishments. How many beings were helped, right? And so we should aspire to become just like that, to become enlightened, so that many beings, right, everywhere will be sustained through our enlightenment. They will be helped through our enlightenment. So we kind of say that I will strive, I will put forth my effort. And this is the self-confidence of action. So the action is there. It's continuous, it's stable, it's courageous.
Tanya chokdo tete tunga charaji magwa bara chawa nubi ngajal. Tadi nazayang boba rangkeche shengna nubi ngajal boba che gugu yore. Kari boba che gore rangi ni sozo ki gyula tewar shengmo nyingbo yore. Nazo ni deshi nyingbo yoba zang maase tanda milu rinpoche tobare. Milu rinpoche dik tobe ringde la nazo lenye kanya shenche che tobare. Lega sangan kanya che tobare. Tende yudu tanda lenje sheche che tubata le sangen ande sangwa de che tubi tukure de tubu yudu zana sangwa che tubu yudu ngeba pang mi toba yungu khora marwa pang tube yin kara pang kale yore kale yore mara suya segi yore mara kale yore de inayang kale yore bala nga zo tonen chen de tube de me pawe yi ni dire khasa gore legar wa pawe lega yudu nga zo yang changju senpa sa changju senpa sa pawe nang ne yang pawe chodo gyo bare chi ma jab dha tul chap se chap de ne pawe de yang da be pawe re mare samlo tang gyo re ane ngone thon dam be pawe de so so gi gyu nyomang ba le chal to ba chi le da nyomang ba de pang to ba chi de le ha to bon ji pawe de ngeba thon ji pawe ro ten de je pawe de nga zo chemi to ba yo mare che da ma che la ra le gre le ga go chu dang ma chu che go chu de gyun de kyang ma jan ra le gre ma do ane 젬바 톱사근데 술라 용고요 말에 되네 되네 톱거는 요 방매도 용고 말에 되는 원에 전에 빠야라 네 뽑았게 방월라 섬축게 방월라 배전제 요 버째는 되는 냠버 된름 되는 전에 미는 쪽은 참아 매버서 되벨라 되는 가서 그래 굉장도 요 봐이나 텔라 카르스 그래 네 텔라 니빙가잘 나고요 버래 동화 차라 강해야 다 간다 마그바 지나 된절래 잘투베니 네바 도토고이나 니빙가 잘라 그래스 네 다디양 신트서 녀몽 남 멤버 때데 메든조 제도 소바 녀몽뱅가 잘당 숨어 다 녀몽데도 멤버 타고 그래 배나 나랑서 셈당 나랑서 랑시데 남카낭서데 데 가성마 빼샤교나 저바래도 남카 인도 남카 랑신기 짱마 당마래 다 바로 라코침바 레그레 고 둘라멘다 레그레 도와 라멘다 레그레 콘조 로르 주처와 아니 로르 처이도서는 고 남지마도 매바샤 투고여 매바서 투고여 된저 양다베고 당 템보 슈즈당 매바참메도 바란신 게 말에 농약 보조견나 된저 상마 짱마 소토 그래 된데인도 녀몽 봐서 근데 가서 섬제랑신 말에 고 로르 주처서 문제래 칼바 통면은 단는 냠도 여래 되고도 이나고 매바 참면 누바 레바선 짠 말어와 그래서 선지 고암 선지 랑신데 녀모 바래 걸어 말해 고 다가 바로지 톱톱톱 중요한 거여래 톱톱도 젠 상보지 채나 남성 대원도 대원당 대당 절로 녀모 버지 젠 그래 젠 냠바지 투송나 대당 절로 녀모 버지 거 고젠 다음에라 라레 그래 마도바 녀모 버거나 라왕지다 거라 랑강 쪽 버지다 거랑 좀 어떤 거지 요 말에 그전 다야 레는 것도 와 된도 된소인도 거 ken la ra le ken tham chen an ang thang bun ne ba che shu de sem gi ken yin du chi ken la zo ra ma le ba chen rang sem gi ken gi wong du gyu re gi ni thap che ta yi nga zo ka so re chawa la bezun che gu gu yore de sem gi wong du gyu re ni chi ken la de sam je ra le gi yo ma re sem ko ra ra wang gyu ba che re sem ko ra ra wang ya bu ju na ne do cha she da te ma nga jal din zo ji de sam je ne ba jal tu gu ma re ko khale me ba chen sa me ro tang tu gu yore ni yo ma ba se de ko dagas lor gychoro den dong ne tenden me ba so tu gure me ba so tu ba chege in ko dene sungan dene de den kar so gore so ba nyom ba nga jal se yore de nyom ba pang jar re sun dene ta ne de nyom ba nga jal dong so mos te nga jal so ba te tenje top ni ba yi da re do wa top ni ba ka de ke jare do na so.
Then we have the self-confidence of capacity, which means considering ourselves to be of superior capacity and vowing not to be stained by any downfall, great or small. We're still looking at the second force of self-confidence. It has three aspects. We saw the aspect of action, continuous courageous action. Now we're seeing there's a second aspect of self-confidence with regards to capacity. This is kind of is courage, courageous determination, in other words. Determination to practice diligently and do great things because we have everything what we need in terms of our capacity. We have been born as human beings, so we are endowed with the precious human life. We have a seed of Buddha. We have this potential to become a Buddha, in Sanskrit known as the Tathagata Garbha. So Buddha nature permeates all beings, and we have it. We have this capacity. And so, being a human being, especially is indicative of great intelligence and capacity, so that we can actually do great things, both good and bad. But we can do things on a really big, large scale. As humans, we can achieve greatness. We can do so many really beneficial things, and we can also really do many destructive things. And we have that capacity as human beings. And so now we should use our capacity, in this kind of courageous determination to overcome, to do away with, all the what is harmful. We can say to do away with all the downfalls, great or small, right? As it says here. And to do away with all this kind of negative behaviors. And it's possible as human beings, if we set to sort of train our minds in a way to only have very, very constructive actions, constructive thoughts. It's possible. It's possible for humans to completely transform our being and rid ourselves of any kind of negative, speck of ego clinging, of ignorance, of afflictive emotions. Really hard. It's really difficult to train ourselves, but it's possible, right? And then we will become like real courageous beings, heroes. Bodhisattva, right? The last part of the word in Tibetan, pa, Chanjusem pa, in Tibetan, pa means a hero or heroine. It's a courageous being. And hero, sometimes when we hear a hero, heroine, we think of some war heroes who defeated their enemies, right? Like that kind of waged the war, warriors. But this is really, questionable. Is that a true warrior that we need to become? Perhaps a true warrior, true hero, is someone who has trained and tamed one's own mind and defeated inner enemies. And it's possible. It's difficult, but it's possible. Yeah, and we can. Everyone can. Every human being can. Of course, the question is that whether they will actually sustain that practice or not. But to begin with, they can. So it's not that some don't even have what it takes to start training themselves. Everyone can. Some start, but sometimes people give up, right? So that's what, only sets us apart, is that some can really continuously apply themselves, but some will give up. But it's not a question that some can and some cannot. It's possible for us to embark on the path, start applying the antidotes, training our mind, taming everything and becoming true warriors. So this is kind of the diligence that's developed through self-confidence of capacity, considering that we all have capacity, we all capable of becoming true warriors, courageous beings, right? And as human beings, we can achieve that greatness of overcoming all the downfalls, great or small. We just have to apply ourselves to that practice. And the third aspect of self-confidence is the self-confidence in the face of negative emotions, which means regarding negative emotions as insignificant and disregarding adversity. Here, we develop self-confidence with regard to being capable to overcome our afflictive emotions, all these difficult negative states of mind, by understanding that they are just adventitious, fleeting obscurations. They are not intrinsic part of our being. And remember, I already gave an example that of space. Our true nature is like space, completely pure, unobscured. But sometimes, we can think of sky, and sometimes there is a smoke, there is dust, there are clouds, there's this, gray, clouds that covering everything, and it feels that there's no purity in the, that sky is covered. But those kind of, things, smoke, dust, clouds, are just fleeting, adventitious, passing phenomena, right? They're not part of the space itself. They're not this kind of intrinsic part of it. And so our true nature is just like that. We do have afflictive, negative emotions kind of, with us since beginningless time. So it's not like they just happened yesterday. Yeah, they have been with us since we kind of, started our journey in samsara. But it doesn't mean that they are built in so that they cannot be removed. Like they're just, given and we have to accept. No, they really depends on conditions. It's a lot of conditioning. They are not independent, autonomously existent parts that like kind of there and we cannot control them. They are our own afflictive states of mind, right? And the thing is that they are, they depend on conditioning. And we cannot control outer environment, right? We cannot control that conditioning. But the best would be then to become independent of whatever is happening outside of us, not really react to whatever happens, whatever circumstances we encounter. It doesn't matter. To understand that, we need to work on the inner circumstances, right? To gain that kind of peace, inner peace, that can be achieved and then cannot be shaken by any outer circumstances, right? This kind of lasting control of our own minds. So this basically afflictive states of mind are adventitious, they're fleeting, they can't be removed, and they are not independent, kind of like always there, built in. They depend on a lot of conditions. And we cannot control outer conditions, so we should try to gain control of our minds to the point that we are not affected by outer circumstances, right? And then, thinking in this way, reflecting in this way, we encourage ourselves to we rely, we can say, on the self-confidence of in the face of negative emotions, right? So we can say, let's see, we can see the disturbing emotions as inferior and understand that they can be destroyed, and actually giving rise to self-confidence, thinking that I will get rid of them. I will, no matter what, but I will overcome them. Yeah, so So here, there's a question. Audrey, you unmuted yourself, so you have a question? Someone else? No? Okay, I'm just, are there any questions? Eleanor, would you try to unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I just wanted a clarification on the self-confidence of action, of action, where I think you said something about, or Khenpo said something about defeat the forces of Mara on our own, not relying on others. So, you know, are there times we need the teacher and times we don't need the teacher, or we're not supposed to have the teacher? Or what if we don't have a teacher? Or if we do have a teacher, are there times we need, you know, I think you understand my question.
I understood. Yes, I yes, totally understand. Yeah, I kind of was anticipating this question. Good one. Natsudirinti legi nagyal la pes pe nimagi pe yures tene nipadi ta chikpedi sumra ta chika nipadi na chikpo di okay, let me just see na nimadira nanshi na chikpur karasa shenla mitopa du pampar chegin tene mi shenda mitopa di na kanjena di natsu gegen di gomarepe geveshinian gomarepe yana mena digere yana yona samsam natsu chikpu chegore consola matene jogore yana mena digere yana inji gore odina chikta gotomson samsam yona samsam mena yana samsam gore yana samsam natsu chikpu chegore chava chegore
ane de gyu shinyin dang chobo de zane mego be ke jamara sem boba ke ge tabshe songjo re ma do ba mi ngone shi robo ngone tane ko mare sane de ne songjo mare to boba de ngarang chigo ma do mena yang ne semjin ji ton che da ne chö choba nyamnen che de zane le dang me tende ji boba le che do ne songjo re ma do dir al ha ko ko na gyu shinyin mena ne tabshe yo mare 인지 미니 교육진데 간대진나 되고 그래. 개겐면은 상제가 그런 말와 담마 그런 매봐. 담마 되고 그러와. 퇴배 로도 주바던 300 때나 파브 값수 교육진이 인지면이 그래. 다 건배 냠종로 값수 아니 교육진이 이제 류당 낙냠도 매봐야나야 교육진이 잼바된 냠도 고그로 와. 교육진이 이제 담마도 냠도 매는 매다 그러와. 다 냠종 단다시에 줘 미수 매나 양가랑 찍고 여봐 얘나 양 삼정지 조던 제당 캠페인 주베데 잔르 당게 매 어딘데 뽑아 좀 먹고 그래서 그게 잘해.
So here when it says that I alone, it will subdue my demons, my you know, afflictive and cognitive obscurations without relying on anyone. It's just a means, how to say, it's like a technique, or it's a skillful method that we can, you know, that will just help us to develop courage and self-confidence. It doesn't mean that we actually have to rid ourselves of friends, of spiritual friends, of companions, of teachers. Like, and actually, it's not an instruction that we need to implement and then really do it. It's more like just a thought that we need to think, oh, even if I'm alone, I will still not give up on accomplishing the benefit of beings, even if it happens that I'm alone. It's like a mind training, yeah? It doesn't mean that we actually have to go and try to be alone and, like, you know, never talk to friends or teachers. It's more like just a training of the mind. Even if it happens I'm alone, Yeah, I will not get discouraged. I will not, become disheartened and give up on accomplishing benefit. I will still do it. It's to train the mind to develop self-confidence. And of course, we need the teachers. We need the teachers because there's no path to become enlightened without getting instruction. We need to get some instruction. And these instructions will help us to cut through our doubts. So if we have a teacher, we can clarify doubts. So by receiving teachings, we will, get rid of any kind of uncertainty and doubts and reflect on the teachings. We'll gain certainty. So we need the teachings, and without the teacher, how will we, right, get this teaching so we can clarify our confusion, our doubts? But sometimes we cannot be all the time close to the teacher. That's okay. It's not to say then we should move together. Then we should always just recollect the teachings. The instructions should be with us. And that would be indicative of a teacher being with us, because it's not about an actual human being and attaching ourselves to the being. It's more about getting instructions so we can implement them in our life. And remembering instructions would be like relying on a teacher. So we need that to become enlightened. Audrey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just thought of a question. So the Khenpo talked about harm doers, right? In the very beginning of today's class, he said that when people do you harm, you reflect on how, they're not independent beings. It's all connected to their own conditionings or whatever. So my question is, how, can the Khenpo talk about a little bit about how we could respond to people who do us harm? Because the way I think about it, and this is how I am in person, I tend to communicate, right? When someone does me harm or hurts me or whatever, I'm very upfront with those people about it, and it's a two-way street. But I want to hear the Khenpo's thoughts on how to navigate the situation, because I don't know what he meant, but it sounds like he said, let it go.
Okay.
So I want to find that balance between letting things go, but also communicating.
You mean you're asking for practical instruction. Yeah,
exactly.
Not like just reflection, but like really what we have to do.
How do you deal with it?
Yeah. Not so dering supi gomtsula not so derin supi gomtsula not so di kunzob dat engelra gumala samlotane da perna di nyopa cheken nyo da dognel da nyopa di wan mepa de di kengi kulvare da gyuken somne di je jungyopa di mato te slovan rawanda chiki mepare di samlotane not so odi supa gomgore Ti na so samlo tam tandres. In an sam na so mitsin nan la nyone di chik de krasa de mission de chik konsonaco da cik dukče ja na njopa kelpi kapsu. Ne di shika DJ do na konso keje shegore. Da na keje shige DJ mare da na DJ dan Johnson da keran DJ chena da tets od da chik nyone na de kaduine de kecha shena de nesam palatets pentageres. Di negi tap da negi shika di jeres. Yana dila diringi nacu zinčala di čika minak di samlotana nacu te di samlotana čacan da ljotan gore. Keća mašina šašara da te ljotan so samlotan da ne ljotan. Te ne njone čena nacu de čik de micenala de čik de je necul jun kapsu Nacu ljotana, jana keče šena, jaga repet, sam jana bede ljotana, keče mašena, jana nika, da čik njone kare šena jagare.
Tanda xe zo de soba xe ge yorwa. Soba kongzho milangwe tabre. Keche xe sona kongzho lanya tang, keche mašena kongzho milangwa tende yo mare. Keche xe sona kongzho lanya tang, nang penchen kange mangboche selbe tab, 연구 요바 인두 용 망부지 되는 연구 요소 갑카절라 깨지시나 편도 좀 보여래 갑카시 깨지 개마시나 야부디 내술다에 된다는 되게 다 지도 촉지랑라 되는 샤고베 이게 말해 또 공좀이라고 탑당 나랑도 희와 용에 탑지 당해로 와 탑지 가양 당 줘그래
So here, the teachings came in the context of cultivating patience, paramita of patience, which means not getting angry. So sometimes, you communicate, and through communication, you actually get more calm. You help other person to calm down. You help yourself. Great, welcoming this method. Sometimes, if you communicate, there might be more troubles, and sometimes it's better to just give space to the situation and to other person and leave. It's not like one method is the correct one and it's always going to work. We don't have that magical pill and they're always going to work. You need to understand the essence of the practices, that it means not get disturbed. And you need to see in each situation, in each context, what would lead to that inner peace of mind of yours, right? If you communicate, it will help. Do that by all means. But if you see that, it's just going to, right, you're just going to dig and make it all worse, right? Maybe let it go for time being, right? Maybe come back to it later. You need to have that kind of wisdom, to see when, to apply skillful means. They just means, they're not, right, the end. They're just a means. But you need to see what's the point of you applying them. It's to get, to the place where you're not disturbed, when you sustain calmness of your mind. So see what works for you. I guess then, if there are no more hands, no more writing, then we will dedicate merit.
Yega naje bala jubai sembe zolendo tolwara sho chanjo zemjo remboche maje banam ge gyurchi jeba nyamba meba Kone Gondo Belwara Sho